on, Wolfpack Nation? Hope everybody's doing well this evening. Thank you so much here for tuning in here with us. We got an exciting episode here. So we got, I don't know if you know here, but we got a pretty good NC State sailing team for those who do not know about it. And if you don't know about it, I suggest to hop on the bandwagon here real quick, because I don't know if you noticed now, but they're going for back-to-back national championship appearances here. So again, we got some big momentum here coming on with this team here. So we got Coach Dan Magliola here in the middle, and then we got Issa and Olivia here. Olivia is the women's team captain, and Issa is the co-ed captain. And then they also have a men's side as well. But again, we only have so much screen room here, so 3 is enough. So thank you all for joining us today. Really do appreciate it.
Great to be here. Thanks for having us again. And, great to be back on Tuffy Talk, and great to be getting ready again, spending our spring training and putting logistics together to go back to nationals.
Amen to that. Amen. And we were kind of laughing a little bit beforehand, but I got to bring it up because I'm sure that if for people who, since you say being on Tuffy Talk again, people are going to be like, they were on Tuffy Talk before, and obviously we
like in the OG era of Tuffy Talk.
Yeah, that was OG, and that was back when we were using Zoom. So if for those who do listen back, the audio wasn't great, but now it's popping, and hopefully the quality is a lot better than it was then. So, but anyway though, so jumping back into it, it's crazy to think about again. I mean, obviously, hopefully we've come a long way, as in terms of a video podcast, but y'all have come especially a long way because, I mean, again, just like you were saying beforehand as well offline about how last year going to the first national championship as a team, now going back again, but also too going with the women's team this time for the first time in the women's team history. I mean, it just speaks wonders. And just because I want to confirm this as well. So the first season for the women's team was 2012, 2013. Was that correct?
Yeah, so that fall season of 2013 leading into that spring year. So
that's crazy.
One regatta that year, we put together our women's squad and finished the back of the fleet in the one regatta that we took part in, and that's how it started, and this is where it is today.
I love it. No, so I mean, again, it's just amazing to again see that, like you were saying, like it basically it proves that last year wasn't a fluke. That it's like we got something going here. Like we're heading in the right direction, and something's working here. So I guess first of all, I guess I'll just ask the simple question, like, how does it feel like having that feeling? Like, because I mean, to me, I almost get excited. Like, that's crazy though. Like how, again, I mean, it all this just started really. And I mean, obviously I know Coach Danny, you came on like 10 years ago, something like that, or a little bit more than that. Am I correct?
Yeah, this is my
right.
Ninth year.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, I mean, gotta give, I'm sure, you, Coach Dan, won't be the, like, it's not all me, but I mean, hats off to you for sure. I mean, for putting this together. I mean, obviously before Olivia and he's, I mean, obviously it had to start from somewhere. So hats off to you on that.
Thank you, and it's been fun. I think the team knows this. Continuity from coaching helps so much because you have the structure of a program like ours relies heavily on student leadership, and if the student leadership turns over without somebody to capture the knowledge to bring in some of what we've done, and it doesn't grow and build that momentum the way that this has. So, I love what we're doing as a team. It's definitely not me. Although I will tell the kids when they win a race, I'll say to my fellow coaches, clearly it's all coaching. But we all know that that's not the case. It's really about putting the program in place and making sure that they have the opportunity to succeed.
Yep.
Dana is 100% the glue of the team, though. He is so involved and is there for every student on our team. It makes such the difference.
I love it. Amen. Well, and so Olivia, I want to ask you, being the women's cap, so I'll let you cheer for the women's, or I'll let you speak for the women's team, and the fact that, I mean, so what was your initial reaction when you got the news that the women's team's going to its first national championship in the team's history?
Yeah, I mean, I was super excited. They didn't tell us when they were announcing each team, so they're starting like with the number one team, and they're like Yale, Boston College. Like, okay, well, this could be us. This could be us
Mhm.
next. So just kind of sitting there with the anticipation, and then finally, like when they called us, and you see your name up next to all the other colleges that like, like next to Yale, and you're like, this is insane. Like we are on their level,
Yep.
and now we get to compete against them. It was surreal, honestly. I never expected to be going to a national championship. So
Yep. Amen.
I don't know though, because as we watched the show, all of us, and we all talked about this, we all knew in our heart that we had put out an outstanding season.
Yeah.
That the women had gotten into high level events and competed, and we knew that the resume was there, and none of us like we were all too superstitious to start to like be excited yet. And when they actually said it out loud, it was like almost just a relief of
it was validation for everything, all the time and work that we put in.
Hmm.
It was like, hey, we've done this, and people are seeing it,
Yep.
and people are recognizing it, and that was awesome.
Yep. Amen.
I'll brag on the women's team a little too. A lot has changed in college sailing over the last few years as a sport that has both club and varsity programs competing on the same playing field with really the same opportunity. The stratification of programs has happened over the past few years, and there's different levels in college sailing. One of them is the high level is called a cross regional team,
Hmm.
and this is our first year as a cross regional team. And in fact, the spring season was NC State's first season as a cross regional team amongst that sort of elite level in college sailing. And we had a big chip on our shoulder to prove that we belong,
Hmm.
not just in the co-ed game, where we had proven that we belonged last year, but that the women are competing at that level too.
Yep.
And quite honestly, our women have a higher ceiling of performance with the talent that we have on our team compared to sort of the depth of college sailing. So
Yeah. Yeah.
all that factors into this weird and awesome year.
Yeah, no kidding. So kind of talk a little bit about it, kind of talking about this season. So what were some of the big milestones? Like were there like some big upsets or big victories that really stand out, kind of looking back at the season?
Yeah, so kind of going along with what Dana was saying, there's three different rankings in college sailing.
Hmm.
So there's fundamental, regional, and cross regional, and it tends to be that cross regional is varsity programs. That's just how they base it. They're like, oh, your varsity will give you the rating. So we really did have to prove with scores that we deserve to be up there with Yale, Brown, all of those teams,
Hmm.
and that even with our limited resources that we can compete at the level that they're competing at. So that rating boosted us immensely because once you get that rating, you have access to so many more events
Hmm.
that are higher quality, like you're sailing against better teams, more teams. It's yeah. And so once you compete at that event, there's this whole ranking system with points. And so those higher events are worth more points and so that overall ranking was a big accomplishment. And then also, I mean, all of us can touch on this, but this was the first time ever that our co-ed team has won our championship event. So our qualifier, the championship event, it's top two automatically qualify for nationals. So we were lucky to be automatically qualified rather than wait for a committee to choose us for nationals,
Nice.
which is amazing, a sigh of relief, all of that. But with that, the team that like before us has won that championship for since
10 years.
10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so we broke their big streak, and that just felt amazing
Yeah.
Yeah.
to do. That was College of Charleston.
Yeah, so in college sailing, the College of Charleston is like the Alabama of college sailing.
Oh, yeah.
Dozens of national championships, All Americans, like a full wall of All Americans.
Mm.
And they had dominated the CESA conference, our conference, which is kind of like geographically the SEC and
Hmm.
ACC. All of the teams that are in North Carolina, down to Florida, over to Alabama, that's our big
Yep.
conference. 10 years of watching them at the top of the conference and being able to beat them in that conference title match was awesome.
Yep.
10 years of fall and spring.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
fall, two seasons a year. So
Wow.
good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Unbelievable. Eh,
It,
Go ahead.
it's fun too because oh sorry, one of the things to think about too with the season was leading up to that too. It wasn't just that we lucked out in a specific regatta. It's the consistency that this team has had. Top threes, top twos, top placements consistently in regattas, winning several regattas this year. And you asked, do we have big wins? We went up to New England, which is very much the deepest, part of college sailing, most competitive.
Yep.
And, we go right into a place like Boston College, one of our, rival teams, and we beat them at home. And
Wow.
that's an outstanding. And for an ACC fan, that's fun to watch. I don't
Absolutely.
care what sport it is. It could be beanbags, and we beat Boston College. That's something to celebrate. So
Sure.
victories like that, winning in conference.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
went to the
yeah, we
game.
went to the game.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun to win the regatta. And then, you put on your gear, go into the football game, you're in the stands, you're like, all right, we did it, now it's your turn. And then to watch them win, it was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have loved you guys to be like, "Hey, Leary, we did our part, man. You got to step up now." Like,
Yeah.
Turn,
I
yeah.
love it. Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out. Oh, I love that. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, so kind of taking, a look back, I mean, obviously it's first thing that comes to my mind is just like you said, consistency. And like I think that this is something that like right now you're seeing a lot with our football team, hopefully. But that you see with teams that are consistently at the top, like maybe the College of Charleston's, you see this, but it really is a mentality. It's a mindset of like that, almost this swagger of like we know how to win. Like we're gonna get this done one way or another. Like even if we have one bad run per se, like we're gonna bounce back from there. We're gonna find a way to win out. So I mean, do you kind of see that, or do you kind of have that sense within the team that there's like that maybe kind of building off of last year? Like okay, like this year we're starting to feel a little bit, and then maybe it can even like just again continue because again we want to go to national championships every year. We want to be that team, right? I mean, I'm sure that's where we want to be, and then hopefully even start winning some as well. So, do you kind of see that mindset shift heading from last year to this year?
Yeah, I'll answer. Yeah, I think we believe it, and I feel like we believed it all in our heart before, and just proving it. And the fall season when we came back after making nationals last year, we came back to the fall and we started off really well,
Mm-hmm.
and we started winning events, and culturally we started to internalize that we belong there, and I think the results are a part of that as well.
Yep.
And y'all can probably speak just as athletes.
I think that became just knowing that we did it already, then it became not a goal, but a standard.
Yep.
And so your whole team, there are, certain people that end up sailing the event. So not everyone on the team gets to do the event, but it became this past season that our whole team was just their attitudes had changed and everyone wanted to be involved. Everyone was showing up to every practice, like just putting their all into every practice. It was,
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing to see because they want to get there. They want to be at nationals. And once you get that competitive drive on the team, yeah, it's not a goal anymore. It's fighting for that position to sail at nationals.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I think in general, at least since Issa and I have joined the team, we're both sophomores.
Oh, cool.
There's been a shift in mentality. When we first joined, I was our first year on the team that we made it to nationals.
Yeah.
Coincidence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's starting on a
I'll
team
take
who
it.
had never been to nationals, and then we're here for such a developmental time in the team. It's been going from like, okay, yeah, we kind of want to go to this regatta, hope we do well, to like, okay, we're gonna go to champs and we're gonna qualify for nationals because we've done it
let's
before
go.
and we know what it is.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
There's a great story that we host a big event in Oriental, North Carolina, down on the coast every spring, and it's one of college sailing's best regattas. Not to self, market.
That's okay.
It's definitely a popular event. We have 20 teams come in. We had like Texas and all these schools come in from all over the country this year. A couple of years ago, when we were putting on that event, as an event organizer, I was so concerned with like make sure all the details are done. We got everything situated, and thinking about competing in the event was maybe a secondary thought. And a past captain, graduating senior on our team, Scott Harris came to me and he said, I know we're going to have a great event, but let's win this event.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, let's win this
Let's do
event.
it.
Let's win this event. So instead of just making sure that sort of like everybody gets in while their folks are there and we make sure everybody sails, we really put in our top sailors and pushed the envelope to win that event.
Yeah.
Won that event.
Nice.
And really, I don't know if that's the turning point, but the culture on the team is working hard together, and we're here to win. And look cool doing it, but really
Yeah.
here to win.
Yeah. Well, and I mean too. I mean it's just so funny that again, I think that with not only just sailing, not only with football, but with in-state athletics in general right now, I can point to a lot of different teams right now, club, varsity that are really developing a lot, in terms of like just like you said, this mindset, like like I could bring up like with softball that you're seeing kind of more of a swagger, obviously having the number 4 overall recruiting class, and then with football you're seeing it, with women's basketball you're definitely seeing it. I mean, even here with sailing again, you're seeing it. So I mean, like, is it something in the water or something like that? Like, is this like
I love it that you
Water.
can throw in. It's definitely the water in Raleigh,
Okay.
right? You can throw in cross country, hockey. I
Yes,
mean,
women's cross country,
there's so
yes.
much
Hmm.
positive. I think it's always been important for our team to have a good culture, to have that inclusive culture, but to have that team mentality and work hard.
Hmm.
We love that American Aquarium song is, the harder you work, the luckier you get is just a mantra for our program. But I think that's shared amongst a lot of state programs. I feel
Yeah.
like the culture in state sports is really special right
Yeah,
now.
no kidding, no kidding. So, and one question I was curious about too is, like, you were saying you were hosting like some of these big teams, like the Texas, the Floridas, you name it. So do you feel like now that you've qualified last year for nationals that there's more almost a mutual respect of that, like as a competitor, like because I mean now people are looking at it still like. All right, like we're going against NC State. Like this is gonna be a tough one. Like do you kind of get that sense?
Yeah, I mean, any of us could speak on it. I think in past years, Olivia sort of touched on it that we recently, our performance has spiked in the last year and a half, 2 years. So before, I would say that there were teams that didn't look at us twice, like just NC State overall, and the spike in our program has made people go into events and put us on their radar and be like, okay, we need to look out for them.
Nice.
And in sailing, there are people that, there are strategies to basically take other teams out. And we've had teams, come out after us on the water and have coaches like tell their kids, hey, go mess with them on the water,
Hmm.
which is, it sucks when you're on the water, but overall that's like, wow, you have University of Miami coming after you on purpose. And it's like, okay,
Love
they're
it.
looking out for us.
Not names.
No, sorry, or just
Any
any
ACC
college
Sure.
team, yeah.
Sure.
But just overall, it shows how much progress we've made and how much other teams are respectful. And everything on the water gets taken off the water as well. Like just attitude wise, you become more friendly with those teams. And before, those other teams wouldn't really talk to us. And now it's you expect respect from them at events. And that's just, it is way nicer to have. And
Yep.
we've earned
Yep.
it.
Hello.
One of the things too is you get the respect from some of like the higher performing, more established teams, the sort of old guard.
Yeah.
They know not to take us for granted.
Hmm.
But one of the things I think we've done along the way in building our program and being who we are is that the teams that we're competing against, that we're beating, and the teams that are in our conference and club teams in general look at us and cheer for us because they see us as an opportunity to succeed in this structure that's very varsity heavy and yet being able to pull it off.
Yep.
And it's been great that are not being taken for granted by our competition, and that we have that sort of Corinthian respect and support from our team members that are teams that we compete against. So
Yeah.
you can see that in the way we interact at regattas. It's just a neat part of what we've got going on.
Yeah. And kind of talking about like last year, because I know that when we interviewed you guys last year, one of the things we talked about was recruiting, and talking a little bit about just like bringing on people, bringing on interest. And so now that you guys have made the national championship appearance, do you feel like the talent level that you're able to bring in, such as with Olivia and Issa here being sophomores, I mean, is getting better and better, because it's easier convincing, like, hey, we went to a national championship last year, just saying. So come join us if you want to go back again,
Thank God at that.
Well, I'd say we're having people reach out to us more than ever, especially on like social media through Instagram. Like,
That's awesome.
hey, I saw your team. Is there any way I can come out and see the team? And I think people are noticing us. We're coming out strong.
Okay.
I formally recruiting, getting out and talking to high school sailors. I find a lot more sailors will say, I'm looking at NC State. When I tell them, what schools are you looking at? And we're in the mix. We're in the mix for them. Educationally, anybody who wants to study STEM, or really so many different programs at State, and that's a big draw.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at a sport that's a pretty, the student athlete profile in college sailing is generally strong academics. There are no scholarships in college sailing. Our team GPA is like a 3.34.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're talking about mechanical engineering, chemical engineering, complicated topics, and that's I think an important part of our value for a recruit. So we're hearing from recruits, and they're listening when we talk to them better.
So now the one gripe which I'm going to bring you, Coach, is if I remember correctly, because I was listening back to last year's interview, I'm pretty sure that you said the team GPA was 3.35 last year. So are you resting on your morals at all? I'm just saying. I'm like, I don't like this backwards thing. The points are one.
We are practicing a lot. We're practicing. Maybe I'm pushing them too hard. On the court.
I love it.
Well, we're growing. I think
growing.
it's part of it too. So
Adding some random majors.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Awesome.
I don't get to bring my college GPA to drag us down, so that's a positive.
Amen to that. Amen. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much again for tuning in here for part 1 here with NC State sailing team. Again, if we're going to be having a part 2 here, but Coach, if you don't mind to kind of help wrap up here, I know you guys are raising money right now for your trip to nationals, and I'm pretty sure that fans can go to the website, the SailPack website, to donate. Is that correct?
Yep. Yeah, so we get a little bit of money from the university, limited funding. So our trip to nationals, our operating budget's all coming from fundraising. And so right now we're trying to send our co-ed team and our women's team to New Orleans. And you can help support us by donating to our cause, sailpack.org/nationals 2022.
Okay.
That's the website to find for donations.
Okay. Beautiful. All right. Well, so you heard it here first, folks. So make sure to go support them. Any penny you have would be much appreciated. Again, obviously supporting this team that has obviously worked so hard to bring this program to where it is right now, and to basically compete with the NC State logo at the highest level. So definitely make sure you go support them, and make sure again as well, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, which is free to do, and also to really help support us and helps us grow the channel. Give this video a like, so that way YouTube will put this video in front of more NC State fans, and also to give us a follow Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter or Instagram, and also to go give us the Sail Pack a follow as well on Twitter as well. So thank you all so much, and hey, as always, go Pack, y'all. We'll see y'all for part 2.